the cut of the pants so that it tightens around these areas to expose the privates. I mean, this is the purpose of dress from a Western perspective. It is to attract others, initially others of people of the other sex, showing off one's wares, sort of thing. This is the approach of Western dress, whether it be male or female dress. Now, from an Islamic perspective, of course, this is contravening Islamic law. So this area should be properly covered. And it is such that if a man bows, or he sits, or he prostrates, in these positions, the clothing will hug the thighs and the buttocks, etc., and expose them to those who are standing behind or around the person. So it is definitely not appropriate dress for prayer. In fact, some Muslim scholars hold that prayer in Western pants is not valid. This is unless one does not, this is if one does not wear a top, a shirt, which say comes down to the knee. So if one wears Western style pants, then one should wear some kind of top which comes down at least to the knee to cover that area. And this is not just for prayer, because although the person asked the question regarding prayer, can we pray in such clothing? The point is that for a Muslim, what the requirements for prayer have to be maintained outside of prayer in terms of dress for a Muslim man. Because it is not that when he's praying he's supposed to cover his private parts, but then when he's outside in the street, etc., he can wear anything he wants to wear. No, he's still bound to cover his private areas between the navel and the knee. So if one is wearing a Western style dress, then it should be one which will, with a top which comes down to the knee, something like the khamis of the Pakistanis or Indian style tops which come down. Also I've seen in West Africa, amongst the Nigerians and others, they have tops which come down and cover this area. And this is what has happened traditionally. Muslims in this part of the world, those parts of the world where there was a tradition of wearing some sort of pant-like garment, they developed tops which would come down and cover to the knee. And this is the traditional dress. Now this traditional dress ensures that the basic principle of covering between the navel and the knee is maintained in the dress. And so a person who is wearing Western style dress should comply with that principle by wearing some kind of a jacket or coat or whatever, or top which comes down and covers that area for the prayer really to be acceptable, before God. Because one of the conditions for prayer is that the private parts be covered. So if one is praying in such clothing and it doesn't cover it, then it raises a big question mark as to the acceptability of that prayer. And of course, God is most merciful. I mean, He knows if people have done this in ignorance, but where a person does it deliberately, then they are accountable. If a person does it in ignorance, they weren't aware of it, they weren't aware that this in fact is exposing their private parts, etc., then of course, God is most merciful and can overlook this error on their part and instead, accept their prayer anyhow. But as a general principle, we should be aware that this is not correct. The third question that we have, which comes from Abdul Bari Ismail, who is writing from Dubai. He says, "Dear Dr. Bilal, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I would like to thank you for giving us an opportunity to come forward and clarify matters which have been haunting our minds since many years. May Allah reward you and may He give you the spirit to keep up the good work. Allow me to present a question to this program of yours. Is it Islamically correct to keep small birds in a cage? If not, should I release them?" The question concerning animals in a cage. We're talking about animals basically as pets. Can Muslims keep pets? Yes, it is permissible for Muslims to have pets. The cage, as long as the cage is large enough that the bird or whatever can move around relatively freely, this is this is permissible. And as long as one feeds the animal regularly, etc., then there is no problem with that. Now, if one does not look after the animals properly, then this could be a source of punishment for a person on the Day of Judgment, because Prophet Muhammad, may God's peace and blessings be upon him, had said that a woman would go to hell because of a cat. She had a cat which she tied up and didn't allow it to feed itself, to go and eat of the vermin, etc., and it starved to death and died. And Allah would put her in hell because of it. So, I mean, this is a very serious thing when a person says, I'm going to have some pets. That is not something that we can take lightly. Cruelty to animals, from an Islamic perspective, is a very, very serious error. I mean, it can cause a person to go to hell. It is so serious. I mean, of course, in the West, there's a big thing now about, protection of animals and, stopping companies from harming the animals through their experimentation, etc. In fact, people have sort of gone overboard in the West about protecting animals. But Islam has a very strong foundation, which demands that animals be properly looked after. Prophet ﷺ said we should not make birds our targets, meaning that for fun and games, people just shoot animals, as an entertainment, enjoyment. No, Islam forbids this. So, Islamic perspective with regards to animals is one which seeks to guard them. They are there for us, for our pleasure, to eat, to take clothing from, to take benefit from. We may kill them if they're harmful to us, dangerous to us. We're allowed to kill them. But we're also allowed to keep them as pets for our own entertainment or enjoyment. But we have to keep them well. We have to look after them properly. We're not allowed to neglect them, cause them to die, etc., etc. So, as a general principle, we would say it is permissible to keep small birds as pets. In terms of releasing them, if a person, felt, for example, that they're tired of keeping these birds now and it's time to let them go, well, we know these birds, it's better that they be given to somebody else or that they be sold in the market, because if you let them out into the wild, where they have not grown up and have become used to fending for themselves, etc., then they will become prey to the other larger birds or other animals that are out there, and they will quickly be killed and be harmed. So if we keep domesticated birds and we decide we want to get rid of them after some time, then it's better to give them away or to sell them so that they will not be exposed to further harm by simply releasing them. We have another question. I think time permits us to take another question, in which our reader has asked, Dear Dr. Bilal, this is from MRS Hamd, who's writing from Ajman. Dear sir, I'm a Sri Lankan Muslim who follows your hadith in the Sharjah television at 9:30 p.m. daily, which I appreciate very much. Please be kind enough to send me some Islamic literature in English and Sinhala languages, as there are many of my colleagues who are non-Muslims who are eager to learn Islam, which I am sure would make them embrace Islam. Please continue your program further so that people like me would definitely increase in Islamic knowledge. Thanking you and waiting for your early reply. Yours sincerely, Hamid. Now, in terms of Islamic literature, we may write to the Islamic Information Center. If you write actually to me, care of our Sharjah Television, P.O. Box 111, I can direct the letters across to the Islamic Information Center or the, what they call the Cooperative Society's office in Dubai, and we have Sharjah International here. There are a variety of different organizations which do give out certain literature. So if people are looking for literature, then they may write in to us here at Sharjah Television in the Light of Islam, to me, Dr. Bilal Phillips, P.O. Box 111, Sharjah, UAE, and I will direct your request for literature to one or other of these organizations. And in our future programs, I will also announce some other P.O. boxes where people who are looking for pamphlets, etc., which explain about Islam, can receive them. And with that, dear viewers, I'd like to thank you for being with us in this segment of our program, In the Light of Islam, in which we have sought to clarify certain issues, which day-to-day issues which plague Muslims, and as well as some non-Muslims who may write in from time to time, and we encourage non-Muslims also to write in if they have any questions or doubts about issues of Islamic nature. And we hope that you will continue to follow our program in the coming weeks, and we bid you all farewell now. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.